Hello and welcome to the Etoft21sports Show for September 19th. How's everyone doing? My name is Eric. I'm the man behind Etoft21sports. We have an absolute phenomenal show lined up for you today. Kia, aka Kia Parlay on social media. She's this week's special guest. Her and I are going to look back at week 2 of the NFL season, have a couple takeaways. We're obviously going to talk about the big news about Nick Chubb being hurt, being out more than likely for the season. And Gino will have his horse racing bet of the day. But before we jump into all that, I want to say thank you for the sponsor of the show, Sharps Betting app. If you're not using Sharps and you bet sports, you're insanely missing out. Download the Sharps Betting app. Use promo code ETOFT499. That way they know old Uncle Rico sent you. Also, Thrive Fantasy. Guys, if you're not using Thrive, you are missing out. You can take props, you can parlay them, you get 3.2x to 1 return. That's better than any of these other parlay shops, player prop shops that allow you to parlay stuff together. Use promo code ETOFT21, 100% deposit match. Also, any day there's an NFL game, I will be making videos telling you what to parlay together. Now, this is the time I normally bring my man Gino on to the show, and he reads his horse racing bet of the day. Unfortunately, Gino's having some computer issues. He's at the Apple store right now getting a new computer, so he texted me his play. Saturday Parks in the Pennsylvania Derby, which is race 12. We're going to the 2 Ceiling Crusher. Very fast, wire to wire. She is going to look to go. Morning line odds are 5-1. Gino says anything under 7-2, you don't want to bet. 7-2 is a cutoff. So make sure to lock that in. Also, make sure to give my boy Gino a follow at It's Me Gino B on social media. I'm on his podcast every single week talking NFL, NBA, whatever sport is going on. Him and I are talking. Plus, every Sunday morning, him and I are previewing the NFL slate on the NFL Betting Blitz, sponsored by Parlay Play. Now, let's bring this week's special guest on. We have a first timer on the show, Kia. Kia, how you doing today?
Hi. Thanks for having me on the show.
So, first of all, we need to jump into something. I'm sorry, but you're a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. Big news yesterday with Nick Chubb going down. It's kind of just derails everything for the Browns in my eyes. I wanted to hear your take before I dive into it. What do you kind of think of what happened to Nick Chubb on the field?
Well, although I am a diehard Steelers fan, I feel bad for Nick Chubb. That was unfortunate, and he is a key player for the Browns. So with him being out, it's definitely going to be hard for the Browns, moving forward throughout the season.
The thing that gets me about it is there's certain people that are just, how can I say this? Not nice people that play sports. To me, Chubb is one of the good guys. You can kind of see it by the reaction to everybody who's tweeting out, all the athletes tweeting out that they really liked him. He was kind of the heart and soul. It's really going to be interesting to see how the Browns react this week with Chubb being gone. They've lost Chubb now. They lost Conklin. This is a team I was really high on. You were giving me some shit when I told you who my Super Bowl pick was for them to make the playoffs and for them to win the Super Bowl, because I thought I had great odds. And now I think with all the injuries, even with how great their defensive line is, it's going to make stuff a little bit harder for them to reach that goal, which is heartbreaking because God damn it, he's a good guy too, man. I have not heard one negative word about Nick Chubb. But for those watching for the first time, this is how it works. We're going to each give 2 takeaways. Kia is the guest. She's going to kick things off. She'll give a takeaway. I'll give a takeaway. We'll go back and forth, talk about for a little bit. Chat room is open if you guys got any questions. So let's jump right into it.
Sounds good. So first, I wanted to discuss how great the Cowboys been so far this season. So basically during week 1, they beat the New York Giants 40-0. And then week 2, they beat the Jets 30-10. And when I was watching the game, I was seeing that how the Jets were struggling along with Zach Wilson. And we can all clearly see that, the Cowboys' defensive performance was phenomenal. So the Cowboys is definitely a team that I'm going to be watching closely throughout the season and definitely winning some money with them.
I think I was really high on their defense. Their defense looks lights out. And if Prescott doesn't turn over the ball, I mean, this team is really serious with Parsons, Lawrence, Diggs, the whole 9 yards. They're legit and they are scary, and they've looked great to start the season. Wade's checking in. Wade here. Good luck on the plays tonight. Make sure you give Wade a follow at Wade's Bets. He was last week's guest. PHG, hello. What's up, my friend? I hate the Lakers. Dude, where's Gino? Gino's having tech issues. I love Gino to death, but Gino's not the most tech savvy guy. For those tuning in, Bobby chimes in. Liberty. I bet the WNBA today, Kia. I hit the Liberty, which is a rare. I'm usually locked in the NFL. I was having my little chicken sandwich for dinner. Was watching the Liberty game. Hit him live at a good number with plus money. I hate some money. I feel for Chubb. That's an inappropriate comment. I can't pull that one up. And what's worse, the Cardinals blowing the lead against the Giants, or the no PI call on the 2-point conversion after the Hail Mary in the Broncos game? I'll let you answer this one, my first. What do you think? What was worse, the Cardinals blowing the lead or the non-call on the pass interference with Cortland Sutton in the end zone during the Broncos and the Commanders game?
I would say the Cardinals blowing the lead. The Cardinals are not a good team at all, and they're definitely going to have a tough season. I mean, they're not much to really.
They're tanking. I mean, they're obviously throwing it in for next year. Wade says the Broncos game. I have the Broncos over 8.5 wins, so I'm definitely going to say the Broncos game. Maybe I'm a little biased, but I'll say that. My first takeaway is this, and everyone that watches this knows I'm a Lions fan. I'm a die-hard Lions fan. I've been a Lions fan my whole life, and it's the most painful shit in the world. They messed up the draft, and it's really going to cost them for the season to be special. They need another defensive lineman, in the game against the Seahawks really showed that. At the 6th pick, they could have drafted Wilson, the kid from Texas Tech that went to the Raiders, or Carter from Georgia that was drafted by the Eagles. You pair one of those guys with Hutch, you have a young defensive front that can cause havoc on rookie contracts, which is absolutely huge. But what they do instead, you move back, you trade DeAndre Swift to draft Jahmyr Gibbs. And Jahmyr Gibbs, I'll say it, he's not as good as DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift was still on a rookie deal. And you just signed David Montgomery. And then also you move back to get some more draft assets. That's fine. But Van Ness, Will McDonald, Nolan Smith, Byron Breeze, these are all defensive guys you could have used to help that defensive front. Look, it's really hard to knock Holmes, and with his track record, what he's done, the guys he's drafted with the Rams and the Lions. I think he messed this up, and I think it's really going to cost the Lions from having the season that they're capable of. They'll probably make the playoffs, but that's it. This season could have been really special with the offensive line and the weapons they have, but unfortunately, I think it's just going to be another heartbreak hotel for me and my Detroit Lions.
I hope not. I still have a little faith in the Lions.
I don't know. Like, they're kind of like, they always let me down. That's the thing. The Lions always rip my heart out, stomp on it, let me down. It's absolutely brutal being a Lions. Kia, what is your second takeaway?
My second take is I wanted to discuss how well the Dolphins have been playing. So during week 2, they played against the Patriots. And the Patriots really had a tough game, in my opinion. Their offensive line was struggling against the Dolphins. Mac Jones, he was sacked 4 times during the game. And I really think that the Dolphins put the pressure on them, resulting in them beating them 24-17, which puts Miami at 2-0, 2 weeks into the season. So Miami is also another team that I like as well moving forward, that I feel like are going to continue to do great.
Yeah, Miami's been off to a great start. I mean, they've been flying up and down the field. I'm not the biggest Tua guy. Tua is the reason some sports media guys have blocked me, but I don't know. They're off to a great start. You got to give credit where credit is due. It's going to be interesting this week against the Broncos. Now they're kind of like established themselves. They have the lead. They're 2-0. How are they going to react being 2-0 and everything? Really interested to see this game this week against the Broncos. My second takeaway is the Bears messed up in hiring Matt Eberflus. Look, I get it. You have an offensive coach in Nagy. You normally go to a defensive coach. That's what most coaches do. But you just drafted Justin Fields. You have this young, dynamic quarterback that you want to develop and you want to build around. And my thing is this: if a quarterback doesn't progress from year 1 to year 2, he doesn't have it. It's not going to happen. And there was progression with Fields last year, but this year he's done nothing but regressed. And it's noticeable. There was one point in the game he was in the shotgun and he did a 7-step drop. That's 20 steps beyond the line of scrimmage. He's just not doing it. And the coaching staff there didn't do a good enough job to prepare him. Now, what I'm going to say is going to blow people away. Do you remember Jim Caldwell? Former Detroit Lions coaching great Jim Caldwell. Took the Colts to the Super Bowl, Jim Caldwell, with Peyton Manning. He interviewed for the Bears job. Kia, you ready for this? He had not a year plan, a multi-year plan on what he was going to do to develop Justin Fields. And he came in and he presented that. And how the flying hell, excuse my language, do you not give him the job when he comes into your house and shows you that? Just absolutely mind-blowing to me that you wouldn't hire him. Now it looks like Fields isn't going to reach his potential. You're going to have another high draft pick. You're going to have another quarterback just like Trubisky, because of poor coaching, didn't reach what he was capable of doing. And I'm going to say this: they're never going to get a coach that's worth anything there, because this is going to blow your mind too, until there's a change in ownership. The McCaskies that own the Chicago Bears require all head coaches to go to Saturday Night Mass with them.
Wow.
I mean, if you're a coach, do you want to go to Saturday Night Mass with your owner? No, like, wow, it makes zero sense.
Yeah, that's odd. Yeah, I don't understand.
This is why they never get any of these quote unquote like big time coaches. Now, granted, Caldwell, for whatever reason, constantly gets looked over to be a coach, and I think he would have been a great fit there, able to get Fields to where he wanted to go. But if I'm somebody, I'll use the Lions coach, Ben Johnson. He's going to be a hot name this offseason when it comes to coaching hires. Why would I want to go there? Why would I want to spend my Saturday night when I should be preparing for a game at Saturday night Mass with the owner? Makes zero sense to me. And the Bears aren't going to be anywhere until there's a change in ownership. Now, look, I'm in the Chicagoland area. From what I was told from someone really close to the team, plane ride back from Tampa Bay was awful. No words were spoke. People were just sitting there. Nothing. Someone said, the guy I talked to said it was the most awkward plane ride ever. The owner is usually in and out of the facility during the week. I've heard he's been there all the time. It's just a complete and utter shit show. So Dave actually just chimed in. Hey, E, Kevin Warren will need to step in and get rid of Eberflus. But Willie, that's the question, Willie. No one really steps up to the McCaskies. And anytime someone gets bigger than them, like Lovie Smith did, they just kind of get rid of them. I don't know. I think this is going to kind of be until they sell the team or their kids take over. I think this is just going to be an issue for the Bears. So they screwed it up. A lot of sharp people weren't on them, but they're going to be another disappointing season for the Chicago Bears. That's I'm not a Bears fan, and I just ran it for 3 minutes on the Chicago Bears. So, what do you think about Fields? Where do you think he is and everything?
It's not good for him, and I kind of feel bad for the Bears fans because it's like they just can't catch a break either. So I really don't have high hopes for him at all. It's unfortunate, but
Now, Raj chimes in. Should Bengals fans be worried?
I don't think so.
Historically speaking, he does get off to a slow start, Joe Burrow. I think it's just one of those things. Granted, he does seem a little banged up. There's been some crazy line movement. That line opened up at 7, all the way down to 2. So Monday Night Football, pretty big game. You can't go 0-3, especially with how good the Ravens look. Steelers are 1-1. Browns are 1-1. You can't go 0-3 in the loaded AFC and expect to make any noise in the playoffs. Pretty big game this week, but I think Burrow will be just fine. Now we've reached the part of the show where we're going to talk some betting. Let's pull up last week's results. Last week, Wade hit the Bucks +3, the Saints -3 were a push. Packers -120 was a loser. Old Uncle Rico hit the Titans +3, the Seahawks +6, and the Bengals -3. This is how it works. Key and I are going to go back and forth sharing our bets. Kia is the guest, so she is going to kick things off.
Okay, so my first play is the Falcons +3. My reasoning are the Falcons are doing pretty good. They're 2-0 after an impressive start to the season. And I do believe David Montgomery, I think he's injured.
He's out.
Yep. Yeah, so I'm going to go with the Falcons to cover.
I like the Falcons a lot. And I'll tell you what, Arthur Smith, I love that dude. I absolutely love Arthur Smith. Excuse my language, the grapefruits he had to go for it in the fourth quarter instead of kicking the field goal to make sure the Packers didn't get the ball back with that much time. Him mixing in both running backs, the elite running game they have. Look, I absolutely love Arthur Smith when I'm seeing the Falcons are another team. I have the Falcons 75-1 to win it all. Off to a absolute great start. PhD chimes in. Lions losing out by drafting Williams too. 100% correct on that one. And he chimes in Titans up. Titans did very well as a dog, one of my favorite angles. But I'm not doing that this week. The first one I'm going up north. I'm going to Green Bay. I'm taking the Green Bay Packers -1.5. Look, Matt LaFleur is 21-11 ATS at home. That is 65.6%. As a favorite, he's 19-11 ATS. That's 63.3%. And this is a stat that really blew my mind. Out of all the active coaches, LaFleur is the 4th most profitable coach against the number. Absolutely blew my mind that you had that much ROI if you just bet LaFleur blindly. Dennis Allen as a dog, only 42.5%, one of the least profitable coaches in the league. When you look at Derek Carr's splits, he's historically struggled on the road, throwing more INTs, and his completion percentage is significantly different. Saints are playing on a short week, traveling up north to Green Bay. But the one stat that really stood out to me is last night against the Panthers. They gave up 5 yards per carry. The week before, they gave up 4.73 yards per carry to the Titans. So even though they're 2-0, I really think you're going to be able to run on this team. And they're only 2-0 because Ryan Tannehill couldn't hit the broadside of the barn, and Bryce Young is looking awful. They're 2-0. They're 2-0 in my eyes is a little deceptive because of the quarterback play they have. LaFleur is going to lean on the run game with Aaron Jones coming back, A.J. Dillon, nice 1-2 punch, and that's going to open up the play-action pass game, open up stuff for Dobbs. Watson should be back. Musgrave, the tight end, Jalen Reed. They have some good young weapons. I think they're going to be able to take advantage of the Saints. Flip side, the weakness of the Packers defense is their run defense. The Saints still without Kamara, who's serving the suspension. Williams officially out. Now now we don't even know if Miller, the rookie from TCU, is he going to be healthy enough to play because he's missed the first 2 games. I'm not going to rely on Jones. I'm not a big Jones guy. I know he got 2 tutties last night. I just don't think the Saints are going to be able to take advantage of the holes in the Packers defense. I'm going to take the small home favorite here. Give me the Packers -1.5. And that absolutely kills me because I hate the Green Bay Packers. Kills me. Absolutely. Tannehill gave them the game. New Orleans isn't that good. Carr is still a lemon. I use the term pumpkin. If someone's a buster, I use the term pumpkin, not a lemon. So, any thoughts on that game, my friend?
I agree with you on that. I'm not going to say I don't like Green Bay. They're okay. So I can definitely see them, doing what they have to do.
Second bet, my friend, what are we looking at?
So my second bet is the Cowboys to cover. So it'll be the Cowboys -12. I mean, I do not see the Cardinals doing anything with the Cowboys. They're no match. So to me, this is pretty much a no-brainer. So that's why I'm taking the Cowboys to cover.
What do you take about all these rumors that the Cards are going to move off of Murray?
I hope they do something. I mean, at this point, I mean, they're the worst in the NFL right now. So they need to really do something. I wouldn't put no money on the Cardinals at all.
Here's the thing. And like right now, everyone just assumes that Caleb Williams is going to be the top draft pick. I'm just going to throw this out to you and you tell me your honest thought on it. He's making $12 million in NIL at USC. $12 million, and he's a college student. Would you rather make $12 million living in LA, being a college student, or go to the Arizona Cardinals? No, honestly, I heard from one guy, he thinks he's actually contemplating staying in college one more year.
I mean, I wouldn't blame him because honestly, I mean, the Cardinals are not great. So, I mean, even if he stayed and did another year in college, I would agree with him. He's making his money. I don't see the rush, especially to the Cardinals.
PhD chimes in. Caleb said he will pull an Eli Manning if he doesn't like the number one team. Mr. Sanders might creep up for that number one. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if I have my choice between Sanders and Williams, I'm going to take Williams. I'm going to take Williams a lot. But I'll have to say this. I've been damn impressed with what I've seen from Sanders. Also, Hunter, oh my God, that kid is amazing. Colorado's been absolutely great. But it was a great cover by Colorado State. I had Colorado State plus the 24 last week. Phenomenal cover by them. My second bet. Now, this is when I usually go on my Mike Vrabel stats. Like, I'm a big Vrabel guy. Vrabel, your boy Tomlin, anytime they're a dog, they're automatic bets for me because they're just great ROI. But I'm not doing that because someone DM'd me and said, I'm getting too predictable, always taking the Titans anytime they get points. So I'm not taking the Titans. I'm going dirty. And this is absolutely filthy. I'm taking the Houston Texans plus 9.5. Divisional road dogs, 54% ATS. Divisional road dogs, first 3 weeks of the season. This is when the market's still kind of reacting and overreacting to what everyone's seeing. 57% ATS. Divisional road dogs getting 7 or more points first 3 weeks. That's up to 58% ATS. But this is the big thing that stood out to me. In week 3, teams that are 0-2 and 0-2 ATS are 63 and 42. That's 60% ATS. Now, you and I really haven't talked about gambling that much. One of my big things is buying low, selling high. I'm buying me some Houston Texans stock this week just because I think they're a little bit overvalued in the market, playing the Jacksonville Jaguars, who I haven't been that impressed with. Look, they should have lost to the Colts, and I'll be honest, they probably should have beat the Chiefs. Offensive line continues to be an issue for them. They lost Taylor in free agency. Cam Robinson is suspended. Harrison, the kid who they drafted from Oklahoma, looks over his head. D'Amico Ryan is a good coach. I think he's going to come up with a defensive scheme to take advantage of the issues that the Jags have on the offensive line. In terms of the passing game, I was looking at PFF. This blew my mind. 2 of the top 3 graded DBs play for the Texans. 2 in the NFL. They are looking really good. I think those DBs are going to be able to keep Jones, Kirk, and Ridley in check. Also, looking at Peterson, he's only 41% ATS when he's laying 3 or more points. He's not covering these big numbers. Stroud has looked better every single quarter he's been on the field. And Dell and Collins have a great matchup against these Jags DBs who I'm not sold on. I'm really low on this Jags team compared to the market. I'm going to take my Houston Texans here plus 9.5. I know I'm diving in it with them, but it's probably going to be me, my mom, and my brother, the only 3 people in America betting it. So, look, I'm taking the Jags here. I'm taking the Texans here plus the 9.5.
Okay, well, I'll ride with you on that because after listening to that extensive breakdown, makes a lot of sense to me. So you can count me in on.
You're in.
Yeah.
You're one of them. You're in the firing range with us. PhD chimes in. Divisional game. I can't stand Jacksonville. The fans talk big trash on my Titans because of last year. Texans got a good defense with Coach Ryan coming from the Niners. Agree with that. And that was brutal. I actually had the I just remember bets I lose. I never remember the winners. Like, I think gamblers do that all the time. I had the Titans plus the points and a straight up win in that game, winning you get in last year. And Dobbs, who they signed from Detroit's practice squad, threw that INT. I am still bitter from that. It sounds like PhD is a Titans fan, so he's probably one of
he loves the Titans.
One of 8 people that are more pissed off about that than I am. I love the Titans. I love Vrabel. Vrabel's my boy. I love Vrabel. I love that Titans team. I'm still pissed off about that. Kia, next bet, my friend.
So my next bet is the Chiefs -13. As we were just discussing not long ago about the Bears and Justin Fields, being pretty much a shitty player at this time. I just feel like this is another no-brainer for me. They can't compare to the Chiefs right now. I'm definitely taking the Chiefs to cover in this game.
It's going to be interesting to see this effort we get from the Bears.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, when Joe Judge was the coach of the Giants, that team just completely quit on him. They just completely mailed it in, completely quit on him. You could tell they weren't trying. And I could see that DJ Moore was pissed. Claypool used to play with Big Ben. Granted, Big Ben, when he played with him, I hate to use the term corpse, but he was a corpse of what Big Ben actually was. But at least Big Ben competed and tried. Toward the end of that game against the Buccaneers, it looked like Fields wasn't even trying. So I don't know. I think the Chiefs could potentially blow them out there. So I kind of like that one. My last bet, and I mentioned buying low, selling high. I'm going to the Rust Bus. I am going to the Denver Broncos plus 6.5. Now I'm a huge number guy. I'm a huge stat guy. Week 3, teams that are 0-2, ATS and straight up, I mentioned 60%. Teams week 3, 0-2 that are dogs, 50-29, 63.3%. Teams week 3 that are 0-2 and 0-2 straight up that are dogs on the road. So we're dwindling it down a little bit. 34-17, 66.7%. Teams that are 0-2 ATS when playing a team that is 0-2, sorry. So teams that are 0-2 ATS and straight up playing a team that is 2-0 and 2-0 ATS, which this is 59% ATS. So there's a lot of numbers that really back taking the Broncos here, just because the buy low, sell high teams perception and everything. Dolphins defense can be scored on. Howard and Apple have graded out very poorly. Broncos will be able to throw on them. We saw Marlon Mims, who I completely bitched and moaned last week about not getting enough run, played more, had 116 yards, dynamic playmaker here. I think Payton's going to look to give him the ball more. Fins, a lot of travel. They were out in Los Angeles. They went down to Miami. They went up to Foxborough. Now in the short week, coming back to Miami, and this defense was on the field 71 plays. I think they're going to be a little bit tired. Fins, for as good as everyone talks about their defense, they've allowed touchdowns on 6 of 7 trips to the red zone, so they're not able to get these red zone stops. Pats last week, they had 6 drives inside the Fins zone and only had 3 points. Wilson, historically good as a dog, 31-15, 68% ATS with the Broncos. He's 6-2. And I really believe, I don't know how you are with this, that stuff kind of evens out. At the end of the day, stuff kind of evens out. You look at the Broncos, they lost week 1 because of a missed field goal and extra point. They're up big last week. Last week, they're averaging over 6 yards a play. I just think they're due for some regression to go their way. I think that the Dolphins are due for a little regression, go the other way. I'm sure in an alternate universe, the Dolphins are 0-2 and the Broncos are 2-0. Just how the way stuff plays out. I think 6.5 is a little bit too much. I can see the Dolphins winning the game. I can't see him winning the game by 7 or more. I'll take Sean Payton, the Rust Bus, plus 6.5. There you have it for this week's show. Kia, I'd like to thank you for coming on, talking a little.
Thanks for having me.
Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you on social media and what you have going on at the Dub Club?
Okay. They can follow me on X, on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I do have a subscription through Dub Club that they can just send me a DM and I can send them the link. I also have a Discord and a Telegram. PhD, who's in the comments, he's a part of my platform as well. So hopefully I can meet some new people from being on the show tonight.
You're a great guest. I look forward to having you on in the future. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. PhD, anytime, my man. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. Reminder, we're going to be back next week. The Wolf of Oaklawn, Chase, host of the OTP podcast, is next week's guest. Make sure you give Kia a follow on social media. Let's make some money. Let's cash some tickets. I'll talk to everyone next week.